Hello there. About the saying that nobody can make you inferior without your permission. With that, I welcome you to Newspaper Headlines, a current affairs program reaching you live from the Advent Cable Network Nigeria, ACNN television in Abuja. Incidentally, this is the first edition for this week. So let's check the highlights of the news making the headlines today. I am Phoebe Agemehu, and I'll start off with the Nigerian pilot. Here's the lead story. 100 AK-47 committee says 100 AK-47 rifles stolen in Lagos during protest. 2,600 ammunition lost. 37 police stations, 367 vehicles damaged. AGF Malami says no evidence to prosecute 33 indicted SARS operators. Insists no proper investigation was conducted in all cases. You can find all these details on page 8. The picture is that of the wife of Rivers State Governor Justice Eberichi Nyesom Wike, Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike, Minister of Works and Housing Babatunde Fashola, and Rivers State Deputy Governor during the inauguration of Rebisi Flyover Bridge in Port Harcourt at the weekend. Below that on page 8, NSAS protest sponsored against the North, coming from Senator Adamu. And the bottom strip stories on pages 9, 7, 5, and 6. Over 400 herdsmen arrested for violating Benue grazing law, coming from Otom. Buba Galadima says revolution around the corner. NYC camps won't be closed if COVID-19 case is detected. NCDC. NSAS protest. Southeast governors ask federal government to look into demands. Lagos, Kanu, Abia to get higher palliatives survivor funds coming from the presidency. And before we look at the stories above the lead one on page 7, don't implement court order freezing bank accounts of NSAS promoters coming from the CSOs telling Buhari. And now to the stories just below the masthead. Lagos orders release of 253 NSAS protesters, page 5. And finally on page 7, Hisba destroys 2 million bottles of beer in Kano. And that is all Nigerian pilots have for us this morning. Let's look at the Blueprint newspaper now. I'll start with the story just below the masthead. On Twitter shutdown, Serap, 365 orders, one court to reject the suits. The story begins on the front page and continues on page 6. Beside the masthead, Dangote Cement reports 761.4 billion naira revenue in third quarter. Oil spill. Akipcon writes Kiari demands 16.4 billion naira compensation on page 24. On that same page, Access Bank, FinTech commits to innovation. And now to the lead story on page 6. Southwest monarchs on NSAS protest. Governors far from traditional rulers coming from Ooni. Nation structure won't allow governors perform. Alaafin. Akiolu says restructuring our security architecture imperative. Let's review 2014 confab reports. And now to the picture. From left, Chairman Nigeria Institute of Public Relations, Kaduna State Chapter, former President Rotary Club of Kaduna, new President of the club, Chairman of the occasion and publisher Blueprint Newspapers Limited, and others, during the investiture of the 55th President and Project fundraising in Kaduna on Saturday. And the stories below the picture. NAF eliminates cause of bandits in Kaduna, page 18. Matawale secures release of 26 kidnapped minors. Gunmen kill NSCDC, vigilante operatives, and abduct 2 PhD students. On the bottom strip stories, Lagos orders release of 253 NSAS protesters, page 21. Our rebuke, unify our America, Biden vows in victory speech, page 5. Blueprint publisher attacks Rotary on COVID-19 crisis, page 14. And lastly, from the front page of the Blueprint newspaper on page 8, COVID-19, prevention critical to reopening NYSC camps, NCDC. Blueprint newspaper for you. Up next is This Day, and we look at the stories above the masthead. Federal government disburses 195 billion naira export grant to 270 exporters. The story begins on the front page and continues on page 9. While on page 8, Riwane, protest to prolong economic recovery by 3 months. Let's look at the picture. It's tagged Searching for Peace. Okay? You get the details on page 9 to find out if peace was ever stolen. And now they're searching for it. From left to right, the Minister of Information and Culture, Mr. Loai Mohammed, Director General, Department of State Services, Mr. Yusuf Bichi, Governors Oyetola of Osun, Fayemi of Ekiti and Akeredolu of Ondo, Chief of Staff to the President, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, Lagos, Inspector of Police, Mr. Mohammed Adamu, and Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo during a meeting of Southwest governors, ministers and monarchs with President Muhammadu Buhari's Committee on Youth Engagement in Lagos. This happened just yesterday. And beside the picture, return looted firearms now. Police warn hoodlums. Page 9. Southwest governors, ministers, monarchs urge overhauling of nation's security, demand special protection for region's economic interests, borders, equal treatment for all citizens, and want federal government to use existing laws to check fake news. The story begins on the front page and continues on page 9. On page 5, Trump adamant accuses media of imposing Biden. And that is all from This Day newspaper. New Telegraph is now. Let's look at the lead story. Buni, why APC can't hold national convention in December, says caretaker committee busy resolving internal crisis. Party leadership, ex-NWC fight over party finances. Page 3. This picture appeared on This Day. The picture taken during the Southwest governors, traditional rulers, and the presidential delegation at Lagos House Ikeja just yesterday. Below that, Gambari, governors, ministers, IG, Pali on Southwest security. Monarchs blame politicians, border closure for violence. Lagos frees 253 answers protesters to prosecute 92. Pages 7 and 31. Global warming can cause pregnancy issues. That's on page 30. Let's look at the stories above the lead one. All right, let's go. Reps tackle NNPC GMD over $20 billion withdrawal from NLNG. Page 3. Inflation to push AMCON's debt to 7 trillion naira by 2024. Page 3. Herdsmen killed 1,541 Benue farmers, coming from Governor Otom on page 31. While on page 3, Asman Air fires 6 pilots, 4 others over salary cuts. And now, the story above the masthead. Nigeria's economy lost $18.8 billion to NSAS crisis. Rewane. The story begins on the front page and continues on page 8. Finally, on page 17, retirees take on PTAD, that is the Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate. BPE, the Bureau of Public Enterprise, over 8.5 billion naira unpaid pension. And that is all from New Telegraph. All right, viewers, we should pause here to observe this break. When we come back, we should continue with the rest of the papers. Kindly stay tuned.
Crossfire is a program that treats controversial topics and diverse issues surrounding the church and the society. Technology drove the inflow or the outbursts of people having Bible because of printing technology. Same way, the digital revolution has also made it possible for people to have Bibles in various formats in their hands.
As an Anglican, I believe in Anglicanism. And Anglicanism is standing on the tripod of scripture, tradition, and reason. When we are about to read the Holy Gospel, all members will be made to stand up. Assuming the gospel are read from the phone, and it says this is the gospel of Christ, you are likely to confuse a lot of people. Because people will be seeing phone in your hands.
In the issue of Holy Communion, sir, we've never heard that somebody contacted the disease from the other person.
I think, sir, the truth is that when people are gathered together and anything happens, whether it is an earthquake or it is a disease or anything, it spreads faster and there are more fatalities. That's just what I'm talking about.
The first evangelist in the Bible was a woman, the woman of Samaria that Jesus met at the well. Immediately this woman met Jesus. She went into the town and started telling everybody that come and see somebody who told me everything about myself.
The women actually supported the ministry of Christ, supported the ministry of the apostles, but they were never called apostles.
If you just joined us, you're watching the newspaper headlines live from the ACNN studios in Abuja. For more on our catch-up programs, please visit our social media platforms all showing on the screen. And do well to download the VM Africa app, or Prime TV, or WeTV Africa on any app store to watch us on the go. ACNN TV is now available on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and Android TV. I have the Nigerian Tribune right now. Alright, the story is just above the masthead. Wike meets South-East governors over Yigbo crisis. Page 2. On page 4, answers. Lagos wants 253 protesters released. Police arrest 2 WhatsApp group administrators in Osun. And just below the masthead, NICOM to issue directives on cover for protest. Civil unrest. Page 7. Armed guards avert another pirate attack of Lagos waters, page 27. COVID-19 not yet over, and CDC tells prospective corps members, page 8. And the lead story, Southwest economic assets need special protection. Southwest governors, traditional rulers, demand at meeting with Buhari's chief of staff, IG, and ministers. You can get the story on page 3. This picture is earlier seen after a peace meeting with Southwest stakeholders in Lagos on Sunday. We cross over now to the bottom strip stories. 75 billion naira economic sustainability plan. Lagos, Kano, Abia get priority on page 2. Panic as cement, iron rod prices skyrocket, page 6. And on page 30, as earlier seen, Hisbar destroys 200 million naira worth of beer in Kano. Find out why on page 30. And that is all from the Nigerian Tribune. Right now, we have the Daily Trust, and we'll start with the stories just below the masthead. Former Emir Sanusi's nephew abducted, page 7. On page 44, can Trump pardon his associates or himself? Okay. APC explains delay in conversion dates. That's on page 48. And the lead story is an exclusive one. 6 Nigerians convicted in UAE over Boko Haram funding. And the kickers, there was no fair hearing, families. We are on top of the matter, Justice Ministry, and lawyer says only diplomacy will work, page 5. The picture is that of monies transferred to Nigeria between 2015 and 2016. The bottom strip story is now Emir of Zazar receives staff of office today. Disquiet as Asman Air sacks pilots, 4 others, page 18. And finally on page 4, anxiety in Lagos over plan to resume NSAS protest, today. People's Daily is next, and I'll start with the lead story. 75 billion naira economic survival fund. Beneficiaries will be drawn equally across states, says presidency, except Lagos, Kano, Abia, which gets marginal increase. 13,000 for 3 months payroll support per state. Page 2. The picture now, from left to right, President Muhammadu Buhari receiving the governor of Borno State, Professor Babagana Zulum, right? And with them is the chief of staff to the president, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, during an audience with the governor at the State House in Abuja yesterday. U.S. poll, Biden vows to unify country in victory speech. That's on page 3. And on pages 5, 4, and 2, reps fought carry over refusal to respond to $20.301 billion query. Kano multi-billion naira commodity exchange market to open in 2021. Official. Again, military airstrike kills several bandits in Kaduna. Governor Matawale insists on peace talks with bandits. And the story just below the masthead, resist all violent, riotous elements. IGP orders AIGs, CPS, or rather CPs, I beg your pardon, page 5. And that is all from the People's Daily. All right, we have the Daybreak newspaper. I will start with the stories just below the masthead. UN Deputy Secretary General to visit Nigeria, Ghana, 2 others. Page 8. Flood destroys 900 houses in Zamfara. That's in page 8. Newly elected Joe Biden says first task is to control COVID-19. Page 9. And Lagos State government orders release of 253 NSAS protesters on page 14. The lead story, fresh crisis brew in APC as Marafa dares APC chair Buni over delayed party's convention. Marafa says, don't overstretch your luck. We are not afraid of you. Nabana replies, caretaker committee focuses on national convention, reconciling aggrieved members. All right, the picture now. The chief of the air staff, CAS, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, standing third right. Zamfara State Governor Dr. Bello Matawali, third left. Air Officer commanding Special Operations Command, and others in a group photograph during the CAS visit to Gusau, Zamfara State. Beside the picture, crackdown on NSAS protesters. Lagos panel suspends army evidence as youth reps boycott sitting. Page 13. On that same page, actress Rahama Sadao to appear before Sharia court in Kaduna over open back photos. On page 12, Obasanjo traces U.S. VP-elect Kamala Harris' origin to Nigeria. Okay, that's on page 12. And finally on page 6, Southeast governors Wike meet over IPOB. And that is all Daybreak has for us this morning. Viewers, so far, so good. We've come to the end of this program. And throughout this week on the program, we shall be looking at promotion. I want to remind you that promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south, nor from the north. It is God who judges. He brings one down, he exalts another. Promotion or exaltation comes only from God. So as you go about this week, remember, promotion comes from God. We will see you on Wednesday, same time, same station. Until then, dare to believe and believe only in God through Jesus Christ. Bye-bye.
Flood is a human-induced disaster that has affected thousands of people in Nigeria over years, with many lives lost and properties destroyed. Seasonal